Mati, and I will delivering speech. We are here in memory of Sergio Vieira de Mello and 21 other men and women, most of them UN workers who died with him in the bombing of the UN headquarters in Baghdad in August 2003. We remember all those who died to acknowledge each valuable life cut short and the families who serve even today in their sacrifice. We also remember them for the power of the example they set. Brave individuals in brave individuals from 11 different countries working to help Iraqi people at the direction of the United Nations Security Council on behalf of USA. This is sometimes forgotten that in serving under the UN flag, the day is our names as our representation. And their head was Sergio Vieira de Mello, a man extraordinary grace and ability. As so many who know him testify, a man who gave 30 years to the United Nations, rising from a fall over to head commissioner for human rights and special representative to Iraq, from Bangladesh and Bosnia to South Sudan to East Timor. He spent the majority of his career in the field, working alongside people fought from their homes by war, and assisting them with his skill as a diplomat and negotiator. Perhaps the great testament to his contribution is how much his advice would be valued today. As the Syrian conflict enters its seventh year, as we live through the Great Revolt, crisis since the founding of the United Nations, as 20 million people are on the brink of death from starvation in Yemen, Somalia, South Sudan, and North Nigeria. I cannot imagine that there is anyone in the leadership of the United Nations who would not welcome the opportunity to console Sergio or send him into the field once more. That globalization has both vast benefits to some but worsened the lot of others. The sense of a disconnect between citizen and government, or in some countries the lack of governance, the overall feeling that for all our gains on technology and connectedness, we are losing in control for saving our life. All the factors and more have contributed to a sense of a world out of balance, and there are no Asian for. And despite the millions of people who have lived themselves out of poverty in our lifetime, the difference between the life of those of those born in wealthy, democratic society and those born into the slums and revolt home of the world is a profound injustice. We see it, and we know it to be wrong at a simple human level. That inequality is contribution to instability, conflict, and migration, as well as to the sense that the international system serves the few at the expense of the many. But again, what is our answer as citizens? Do we withdraw from the world we feel a responsibility to be part of solution? I'm proud American and I am internationalist. I believe anyone commit to human rights is an international. It means saying the word with a sense of fairness and humility, and recognizing our own humanity in a fairness and humility, and recognizing our own humanity in the struggle of others. It stems from love of one's country, but not at the expense of others, for patriotism, but not from narrow nationalism. It includes the view that soccer is not being better or greater than other, but finding your place in a world where others success too. And that a strong nation, like a strong person, help others to rise up and be independent. It is the spirit that made possible the reaction of the UN out of the rubble and ruin and 60 million deaths of World War II. So that even before the task of defeating Nazism was complete, that generation of wartime later forging the United Nations, its governments and leaders are not keeping that flame of internationalism alive today. Then we as citizens, the challenge is how to restore a sense of balance, hopefulness in our countries, while not saturating as we have learned about value necessity of internationalism, because a world in which we turn our back on our global responsibility will be a world that produces greater insecurity, violence and shame for youth and for our children. The UN can only change its government, change their policy, and if we as citizens, as our government to do it, it is moving. If you think about it, we are the future generation envisaged in the UN Charter, but as well as dreaming of our safety, they also leave us a responsibility. President Roosevelt, addressing the U.S. Congress in January 1955, 6 months before the end of Second World War, said this in the field of foreign policy. We propose to stand together with the United Nations, not for the war alone, but for the victory for which the war is tonight. He went on, the frame foundation can be built and it will be built, but the convenience and assurance of a living peace must, in the long run, be the work of the people themselves. Today, we have to ask ourselves, are we living up to that mission? It is clear to me that we have made hardship, but our agreements and institutions are only as strong as our will to hold them today. And if we do not, for whatever reason, we pivot and turtle and were unstoppable to all those who come after us. It is not for this that precious generation shall work and work so hard on behalf of all of you. The memory of those who can be very useful or ideal, resting upsketching. In time, the remind of who we are and what we stand for. They give us hope to stay in the fight. Sergio died under his last breath. 15 years since his death. There is a strong need than ever before for us to stay true to ideals and purpose of the unique nation. That is what I hope his memory holds used through today. We cannot be churches, but I hope all of you can determine that we shall be generation that renews its commitment to unity are trying to maintain international peace and security and to promote social progress and better standard of life in longer freedom. But in the final analysis, even if the love of vision eludes us, we continue to simply manage rhythm than to try to overcome our generational challenge. We have to keep working determinedly and patiently, and you can be certain, as you do, that you follow the example of one of the UN's finest songs and the two weapon a little bit his good to uplift ourselves to what he loved universe to and that's through even a little of his good to uplift ourselves to the work he left universe in whatever way we can is a worthy task for anyone of you. Thank you.